Arsenal still with a bit of work to do in the transfer market, and if they get that striker over the line, I think probably you'll say pretty reasonable summer's business. But the pressure will be huge on Mikel Arteta next season. Yes, he's finished second. He got the semi-finals of the Champions League. He's done pretty well, but not well enough. And next season, it is expected that he has to win the title. And he kicks off with a pretty stern test, actually. The Arsenal's fixtures, starting fixtures. Man United away, okay, that might be the easy one. Leeds at home, Liverpool away, Forest at home, Man City at home, Newcastle away. That's a toughie, isn't it?
It's horrific.
Eh?
Horrific. And there's huge pressure on Arteta. Massive pressure. Like pressure he's never had before. He obviously has to win something. Arsenal, I don't think anyone would dispute, any London football fan, they can't dispute that Arsenal are the best team in London. They've proved that after the last 3 seasons. But of course, there are 3 teams in London with gleaming pieces of silverware in their trophy cabinet after last season, of which Arsenal are not one of them. So it must be very, in fact, it was so frustrating for Arsenal fans to watch Palace, Chelsea and Tottenham win something last season. Arsenal have to do it, and the board will expect it. So Arteta's not just going to be under pressure from the supporters. The board, which has given him, £600-700 million to spend, and even more, because I'm convinced they are going to spend big this summer. There's absolutely no doubt about it. It's not going to stay quiet. And even if they don't get their first target, they are going to be spending a lot of money over the next few weeks. So Arteta will be expected to deliver. If Arsenal are struggling in October, in November, he's under real pressure. He could. I think if he could even be in trouble, I think by Christmas, because I think the fans, obviously covered a lot of the games at the end of last season, and they were getting frustrated with some of them. And also, what disappointed me about last season is that they weren't as sort of interesting to watch. A few of those seasons under Arteta, they've been great. The atmosphere at the Emirates has been absolutely brilliant. As good as it at the Emirates since they moved in. And I know lots of people have fond memories of Highbury, but I've been to a few games, certainly 2 years ago, where that atmosphere at that stadium was better than anything I can remember at Highbury. It was electric. That wasn't the case last season. Maybe some of it was nerves, but I think at times the team were a bit boring, a bit predictable. Maybe that's because they didn't have a number 9. So Arteta does have a lot of work to do, and he obviously didn't do himself any favours last season and I think it will turn to haunt him, the quote about being the best team in the Champions League when they lost. I mean, for a start, it was nonsense. B, over that period, it was Paris Saint-Germain, and I would argue Arsenal really weren't even the best team in the Champions League from England, because Liverpool actually were the best team in the group stages because they won, and actually lost to PSG on penalties. So, until those quarterfinals, Liverpool were outstanding. So Arteta was talking rubbish, and I think Arsenal fans got annoyed with him over that, and that is why they do need a good start. It's really nasty when you read those out. It's a real reminder that's going to be really difficult for them, and they have to get their mentality right as well. I thought last season at times the mentality wasn't there. The mentality of being a winning team was not there. It's not what we've seen from Liverpool and Manchester City in the past, and that's something he's got to find quickly.
But when we go through those fixtures, do you think he must have looked at them and thought, just give me a break, just let me get a nice sort of little, almost like doublies in cricket, just serve me up a few that I can get some points on the board?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's one or two conspiracy theorists at Arsenal who think...
Are you a conspiracy theorist?
No, absolutely not. But, thinking that everyone's against them, which they're not. Thinking that, VAR and the referees are against them. Some probably think now that the Premier League fixture computer is against them as well. And it is nasty. Obviously, if they can get through that, I mean, the intriguing game is the first game of the season, of course. And I don't think Ruben Amorim, would have been that happy to see Arsenal at home either, to be honest. So that's a really tough game for United, and I expect Arsenal to go to Old Trafford and win.
Do you think there's anything Arteta has to do, maybe in his approach? Think, well, I've been here, I've done this for 5 years. We haven't produced the trophies I want to produce. Is there something he could do next season, a change of tack slightly, which might, apart from signing a striker, might help?
Well, I think he's stubborn, and that is both a quality, but can also work against him. Obviously, there's been the injury issues as well, which have not helped him. And that's something that I'm sure they've continued to look at the club. And you can't just blame the medical department about that as well, because I'm sure he's always getting a lot of advice. And then that's, it's up to the manager to make sure that, he is careful with his players.
Is there something he does in training? I mean, I was saying that he flogs them too much in training.
Or it could be a bit of that, or just maybe sometimes players are being played when they shouldn't have been played.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's why the medical department are getting a bit of stick, I think, unfairly.
But they got locked into this difficult position, Arsenal, where they were still in the title race. They thought there was a chance of the Champions League, and they were still in the title race, quite close to the end. And he was left in this position where he thinks, I've got to play my best players in all games.
In those games, I was sort of really talking sort of more broadly over the last couple of years. No, but I agree with you over that. But that goes down to mentality again, doesn't it? And that's something, I think some of that is other, obviously good players in the team. Do you need one or two other players with winning mentality? Which is key, isn't it? That's for example, why Thomas Tuchel's brought back Jordan Henderson's England team. Everyone groans. He's a winner. He's an absolute winner. He will give players a good rollicking. He's obviously just knows what it takes.
But hang on, Raheem Sterling was a winner. He's got the medals, he's got the trophies. But when Arsenal signed him, everybody thought, not sure about that.
Sure.
Because he's dropped off in form, and it didn't seem a very sensible move, did it?
It didn't. I've never felt that he was a particular sort of, when I'm talking about a winner, also a leader. And he's not a leader, and that has been that was a disastrous signing, wasn't it?
But somebody like Jorginho, of course, was a leader, didn't figure that much, but was probably quite important behind the scenes.
Yeah, good character, popular.
So they will miss him in that.
So
regard.
I think they will really miss him. Yeah, decent player. But obviously, also, I think he probably wanted a new challenge as well.
I was talking earlier about what Arteta has to do. Do you think he needs to be bold, maybe grab this by the scruff of the neck and say, I'm changing captain? It's going to be Declan Rice, not Martin Odegaard anymore?
I think Rice is pretty much the captain anyway. I
get that.
Yeah,
but he isn't.
No.
But would it be a statement to say, this is the guy who's going to take us forward? Because let's be honest, Odegaard wasn't in the greatest form last season.
He wasn't. I mean, that's my worry. It's not who's captain. It's Martin Odegaard, and he really needs to do a hell of a lot better than last year. Yeah, he was a real disappointment, even when they were doing all right. So that's a key factor here. Who's the captain? Who's got that armband? Who's tossing the coin? It makes no difference to me. Just doesn't to me.
It might to the player, though. Somebody like Declan Rice might think, I really am the captain now. Yeah. I really have to show that I'm the leader. It just might give you that 1%, that 2% that pushes him on. Because as you've said, we want to see him higher up the pitch.
I think he'd do that anyway. I think whether he's captain or not, I think he'd be fine. So sometimes it's whether being captain is affecting the player negatively, and we've seen that in the past. So if Odegaard felt that I can't deal with the pressure of being Arsenal captain, but being such a seasoned, experienced player, there's absolutely no chance of that happening. I think he needs to. Yeah, he was a 6 out of 10 too many times last season, Odegaard, and we want a few more 8s next year.
Of course, we talk about Arsenal have got to deliver next season. They've got to win the title, or they've got to win another trophy. But of course, many other clubs are in the same position. Liverpool will be expected to retain their title. Man City, Pep will be expected to get Man City back to where they were. Newcastle, can you push higher up? So the pressure's enormous. Even if you feel like you're doing a good job, other clubs are going to dictate whether you're able to do that good job.
Yeah, it's competitive.
Very.
But Arsenal, and don't forget, they've got the other advantage, which Thomas Tuchel raised ahead of the England games, was Arsenal not being at the Club World Cup. I mean, that is a massive advantage, and I know you're saying about their tough start, but not having been in the United States, having not played, in temperatures of 34, 35 degrees, and in a tournament that's lasted a month, although Manchester City got knocked out, that will still affect them. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Those players will be reporting for training, probably not for another 3 weeks. And as Tuchel said, it was interesting when Tuchel spoke about it. He first of all mentioned the advantage for Liverpool and Arsenal, and said how it's going to really be a challenge for Chelsea and Man City. Then the following day, in his TV interview, he then said it's going to be a real advantage for the teams that want to win the title, and he mentioned Liverpool, Arsenal and Newcastle. So it's funny that he had a day to think about it, then lobbed Newcastle in as well, or maybe he felt, oh God, I forgot to mention Newcastle. So you're right. I think Newcastle are right in there and will be challenging Arsenal. It's not just going to be Liverpool and Manchester City. Yeah, I don't think Chelsea. I'm still not so sure, but I think those three teams, and we don't have to worry about Man U being in the top four for some time, do we? So I still think it's those three.
For Arsenal, is it as simple as getting a striker? Get a striker, they win the league. Don't get a striker, they don't?
I think get a striker, you win a trophy.
Right.
Yeah, you win the trophy.
Is that enough though?
Yeah, it should be.
Newcastle winning the Carabao Cup success, fine. But for Arsenal, say he won an FA Cup again, which would be second, would it? Is that really enough?
It gets them through. But yeah, they won the league title, don't they?
Absolutely.
Or a Champions League title wouldn't be so bad either. But yeah, they need a striker, but they need the team to play better as well. They need to have a better mentality. I'd like them to play a bit more with a zip as well. And as I said earlier, if they don't, Mikel Arteta is under real danger.